In this video, I will show you how to create a custom header for your WordPress site using GIMP. Please play and pause this video as you work through creating your header image. Many WordPress templates provide an option for a customizable header, which can really give your blog a personal touch. Before beginning your work in GIMP, you'll need to check your WordPress template settings to see the dimensions of your header. When you are logged into WordPress, navigate to your dashboard. From your dashboard, use your left navigation menu to choose Appearance and Header. If your template allows for a custom header, you will see the dimensions included near the Browse to Upload an Image button. In this template that I'm using, my dimensions are 740 by 192 pixels. Now that I know my dimensions, I know what size canvas to create for my GIMP project. So you will want to return to GIMP to start a new project. To create a new project, you will click File and New from the menu. Enter the dimensions of your image size for width and height. My dimensions were 740 by 192 pixels, so I have entered that here. Once you enter the dimensions, you will have a blank canvas to start building your header. To set my background, I have options. I can choose a solid color by changing the background color using the color palette. Then I can use the Bucket Fill tool, change the fill option to Background Color Fill, and click in the background layer. You can undo this and other actions by clicking Edit and Undo, or navigating back in the Undo History palette to return to the last action you would like. You can also bucket fill with a pattern by changing the fill type in the palette options and clicking in the canvas. You can also create a gradient background by choosing the Blend tool from the toolbox, choosing a gradient that you'd like, and then dragging your cursor across the canvas in the direction you prefer the gradient to follow. For now, I'm going to leave my gradient as my background. I would like to spice up my background a bit, so I'm going to play with brush tools to add some texture. You can use brushes to create patches of color and/or patterns in your image design. Because I want to be able to edit this later, I'm going to create a new layer. That will separate this layer from the existing background and allow me to edit either one without altering the other. To create a new layer, go to your menu and choose Layer, New Layer. Your layer should be the same size as your canvas by default, but double check that before clicking OK. Once I have a new layer, I'm going to make sure that my brush strokes are on that new layer and not on the background layer. I recommend you rename your layers as you edit. When you have a complicated project, this can be confusing to navigate between so many different layers. You can do that by clicking on the layer title in your right window, rename it with an obvious name. I'm calling mine Brush Strokes. Now that I have that layer, I'm going to play with some brush strokes to create some texture in my background. First, you will need to choose the Paintbrush tool. Then if you click on the icon next to Brush, you can choose a pattern you prefer. I'm going to start with sparks. Once you have an icon chosen, you can click anywhere in your background that you would like that brushstroke to appear. Remember that if you don't like something you've done, you can always undo. I would like to create a bit more texture, so I'm going to choose another brushstroke. Sparks is a brushstroke that has a default color, that is yellow. You will find that others will naturally use your foreground color. In order to use different colors in your brushstroke, you will need to change your foreground color. By choosing it from the color palette. Then I can change my brushstroke in the toolbox and add another pattern to my background. You can adjust the size, that is width or height of your brushstroke in the tool options. And again, click anywhere on your background and you will create that patterned effect. That concludes part 1 of creating a header for WordPress with GIMP. In the next video, I will show you how to import images, insert text, create shapes, and work with layers.